Hello everyone, welcome back to Hit the Apex. I'm Charlie and today we have another video. This time we are reviewing 2024 pre-season testing, which takes place at the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakhir, where the opening round of the 2024 Formula One World Championship will take place, with the 2024 Bahrain Grand Prix next weekend. Before we get going, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Look out there with the football channel, Hit the Apex, the F1 channel, and at MCFC Hibs on Twitter. We will get going then and start with day one, where Verstappen stayed on top in Bahrain as first day of pre-season testing concluded. Max Verstappen made it a clean sweep on the opening day of pre-season testing at the Bahrain International Circuit as he followed up his morning benchmark with another pace-setting effort in the afternoon. With a time of 1 minute 32.548 seconds in the books during the warmer midday conditions, Verstappen got down to a 1 minute 31.344 second lap as the second session wore on and the sun began to set over the Sakhir desert. Verstappen also continued his impressive mileage as he charged his way past two race distances as one of only two drivers, along with Mercedes' George Russell, to spend the full day at the wheel. McLaren and Ferrari were next on the timesheets with Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz, who took over from their teammates Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc for the afternoon session. The afternoon session also ran into the early evening. Daniel Ricciardo took fourth for RB after some late drama that saw him narrowly avoid a wing mirror that freed itself from Lance Stroll's Aston Martin, Haas driver Nico Hülkenberg not managing the same and driving over it. Alpine's Pierre Gasly, having almost run into a slow-moving Sainz at turn 12 in the late afternoon, wound up fifth, with the aforementioned Stroll and Leclerc taking 6th and 7th. Fernando Alonso's morning efforts put him 8th from Piastri, the lead kick Sauber of Zhou Guanyu, and Williams' Logan Sargent, who enters the second season in the sport. I should say. However, Sargent's preparations were twice disrupted, first by a wild spin at turn 9 that sent him into the runoff area, and then by a suspected drive shaft issue that brought him back to the pits again. George Russell was the sole Mercedes driver in action en route to 12, followed by the other RB, Kick Sauber, Williams, and Alpine machines of Yuki Tsunoda, Valtteri Bottas, Alex Albon, and Esteban Ocon. Haas pair Kevin Magnussen and Hülkenberg brought up the rear in 17th and 18th, which cut adrift of the pack, with Lewis Hamilton and Sergio Perez set to get their first pre-season running on Thursday. Next up then, we go to day 2, where Sainz set the pace on day 2 of pre-season testing as he improved on Leclerc's earlier benchmark. Carlos Sainz set the pace on the second day of pre-season testing at the Bahrain International Circuit as the Spaniard improved on his Ferrari teammate Charles Leclerc's morning benchmark as the sun started to set in the desert. Sainz clocked a 1 minute 29.921 second lap on the C4 Pirelli tyres, which were the second softest in the range, as some teams started to shift attention from data gathering and long runs on harder compounds to start to push their new packages. It turned out to be a productive afternoon for Ferrari, with Sainz clocking 84 laps, adding to the 54 Leclerc managed in the morning, when the session ended because of a track inspection triggered by Leclerc running over a drain cover and sprinkling debris on the approach to turn 11. To make up for the lost time, Leclerc returned to the track in the afternoon to bolster his lap count, running a replacement floor before handing the car over to Sainz, who ended the day 0.758 seconds clear of Red Bull's Sergio Perez. Red Bull had intended to draft Verstappen in to take over from Perez in the afternoon, with a Mexican getting a full day on Friday. However, following the disruption, the reigning world champions opted to keep Perez in the car to maximise track time. Aside from a small loss of time, courtesy of a brake failure and possible power issue, Perez comfortably cleared a century of laps to give Red Bull plenty more data to crunch overnight. Lewis Hamilton got his first real taste of 2024 machinery when he got behind the wheel of the Mercedes, the seven-time world champion doing a full day of running and cruising past 100 laps on his way to the third fastest time. Lando Norris was fourth for McLaren, with the Briton losing a little time in the afternoon as the team investigated a small fuel system issue, having taken over from teammate Oscar Piastri. Daniel Ricciardo continued RB's encouraging start to pre-season testing with a fifth best time, as well as being P4 on day one, with the Australian a fraction adrift of Norris and 1.44 seconds off the pace. Leclerc's best time set earlier in the day was enough to keep him sixth, ahead of Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon and Valtteri Bottas, with Oscar Piastri closing out the top 10. Logan Sargent had another disrupted day, with the American having a few issues out on track, including a half spin exiting turn 10, while his Williams team had a couple of mechanical gremlins to fix too. However, Sargent still clocked 117 laps in total to bring his session to a close, his teammate Alex Albon completing the team's running with a full day in the car on Friday. Finally then, we will move to day 3, where Leclerc ended day 3 of pre-season testing on top as the action concluded in Bahrain. Charles Leclerc topped the timesheets as the third and final day of pre-season testing at the Bahrain International Circuit drew to a close. The Ferrari driver clocked a lap of 1 minute 30.322 seconds on the C5 Pirelli tyre, which put him 0.04 of a second clear of George Russell in P2 at the end of a day that followed a slightly different format to the previous days of running in Bahrain, with the red flags being flown just half an hour into Friday morning due to Sergio Perez running across a drain area on the circuit, which prompted the marshals to carry out track repairs. It was announced that upon resumption, the session would continue through to the end of the day without a break for lunch. When the action got back underway at 11:45 a.m. local time, the cars returned to the track as they looked to complete their programs, with plenty of work to fit in before the day was set to draw to a close at 7 p.m. local time. Most of the teams also had to factor in switching drivers during the session, barring Williams, who had opted to run Alex Albon all day. As the day wore on, temperatures started to drop and track conditions became more representative of those we will see in the season opening Bahrain Grand Prix, which takes place after sunset. Despite that, it was Leclerc who managed to hold on to top spot with his time from earlier in the session, leading from Russell and Zhou Guanyu. All three drivers were amongst those out on the circuit as the track became quicker in the closing stages. Max Verstappen ended the day in fourth, having taken over from Perez earlier in the day. The Dutchman put himself at the top of the timesheets after only his first few laps before completing a total of 66 throughout the session. RB's Yuki Tsunoda claimed fifth, with a Japanese driver bringing his team's encouraging performance in testing to a positive end. Teammate Daniel Ricciardo earlier racked up 70 laps after completing a race simulation. Albon, being the only driver to have the car to himself for the day, completing more mileage than anyone else with a tally of 121 laps, the Williams man ending Friday in P6 on the timesheets. Oscar Piastri took 7th, with McLaren were forced to curtail their morning running with Norris due to a clutch issue, which resulted in them carrying out their driver swap a little earlier than some. Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz and Perez rounded out the top 10 as the final day of testing came to an end. The teams will now set for examining the data ahead of the season kicking off in less than a week's time, with the Bahrain Grand Prix taking place between February the 29th and March the 2nd. So that is it for this video then. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Dugout David, the football channel, hit the Apex the F1 channel, and at MCFC Hibs on Twitter. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll speak to you all soon. Take care, and goodbye for now.